is time for us to bring in the pressure rankings.
You put them under pressure.
For me, it was a self-imposed pressure.
Was I under pressure? No.
Yeah, they're under pressure. Everyone's under pressure.
OTBAM's pressure rankings with Gillette.
And the big pressure.
Right, where are we starting?
All right, as ever, we start with number 5 in our pressure rankings this morning, and there is pressure on sports broadcasters all across the world to up their game, because last night Nickelodeon in the United States had rights of Saints versus Bears, and they knocked it out of the park. I'm really disappointed that I don't think this was the feed carried in Ireland via Sky Sports last night. We didn't actually get this, so you were just kind of following it through American Twitter accounts. And we bring up some images here of their coverage, and you can see here the dynamic duos. Leaders of the Saints defence, Drew Brees and Taysom Hill, and BFFs from Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob and Patrick. They didn't take themselves seriously whatsoever. They had a line on the field that was half slime, half orange, the Nickelodeon branding there on the bottom as well. When you get in, you could see here in the crowd, there was cardboard cutouts of Nickelodeon characters. When you get into the end zone, then they had these slime projectiles coming at you once you got into the end zone. And you had SpongeBob here appearing between the posts whenever a kicker was going for the posts. One of my favourite lines from the commentary last night was Alvin Kamara loves scoring touchdowns as much as Kel loves orange soda. And they got the slime out after the game as well, after the Saints game. Have a look at this.
Our win on Nickelodeon this week.
That's Sean Payton.
Sean Payton there. Yeah. Doing his bit to up it. So basically, they've gone down an unbelievable treat in the US. Really upset that I didn't get to see this. A nostalgia trip for a load of people. I think the attempt was to get more kids interested in sports. I'm not quite sure why it wasn't the earlier game. I guess it's still whatever, a half-hour kickoff on the Eastern time, and apparently it's just gone down a complete treat over there. So pressure on broadcasters to up their game after Nickelodeon, basically with the best NFL broadcast of the season. At number 4 then, sticking with the NFL, pressure on 40-somethings, that's you, all across the world, because a photograph of George Blanda was put on screen on Saturday night, reminding us of what a 43-year-old should look like. Here he is, photographed beside Tom Brady. Tom Brady, 43 years and 159 days. The oldest player to throw a touchdown pass in NFL postseason history, surpassing George Blanda, who was 43 years and 108 days old in 1970 in the AFC Championship game. So Tom Brady on the left is actually older than George Blanda on the right, despite George Blanda on the right looking like Tom Brady's grandfather in this photograph. I think we sometimes forget how good Tom Brady looks, that he is a 43-year-old man, but he's playing with people in their 20s and their 30s, and you're like, okay, this is normal because they all look the same. Whereas Tom Brady should look like a granddad playing beside these guys, but he doesn't. Do you feel the pressure as somebody who is of a similar age to Tom Brady, and seeing what he's doing in his 40s? Are you like, he's setting a new bar for 40-somethings?
You reach a certain point of maturity where you don't care about that stuff anymore, and that's the thing.
Okay, so there is no pressure. Well, a pathetic inclusion this morning in the pressure rankings. Number 3 is Marcelo Bielsa. No real pressure on his job, but Mark Wright comes off the bench against you as you're getting hammered 3-0 by Crawley Town. A BBC fly-in-the-wall doc is currently being made about him. That's a huge reason why he came off the bench. And Leeds get beaten by a team, including a guy whose Wikipedia's first page and the first paragraph of his Wikipedia page says he is best known for appearing as a cast member on the first 3 series of The Only Way is Essex. If you're going to go down to a team multiple divisions below you, at least let it be to a team whose players all include Wikipedia paragraphs that only focus on football. A reality television star helped down Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds team. If that's not pressure, I don't know what is. He's also, of course, got notoriety through I'm a Celebrity and Strictly Come Dancing if you parse through the rest of his Wikipedia page. It's not just Towie. I feel like Towie's been held up as the main reason why Mark Wright is famous. I'm sure plenty of people would attach him to I'm a Celebrity as well. Marcelo Bielsa in there at number 3. Number 2, we spoke about this earlier on with Gary Breen, Jurgen Klopp. There could be a situation where Liverpool are the chaser come this Sunday when they're up against Manchester United. Manchester United played their game in hand this week, playing the first team against Aston Villa, put a little bit of pressure on his team, didn't come out of it looking amazing. They got over the line in the end. They obviously had really good patches in the second half of the game, but they're the patches that you expect when you're up against kids and you're supposedly one of the best teams in the world. I think as well that there is a bit of pressure on Klopp, given all the information that we've accrued now this season, that when he gives out about his team being a little bit tired, he tends not to care all too much about playing them in full against Midtjylland, as we saw in the first half of the season. And then I'm sure we saw Manchester United and the comments about Manchester United last week and the penalties. Like, is there a little bit of pressure weighing down Jurgen Klopp at this point? I would say the answer to that question is very much yes. And then at number one this morning is the FAI, because is there ever not pressure on the FAI? Probably not, but this week, given Damien Duff's departure on Saturday morning, the pressure is certainly mounting. Who are they going to go as a replacement to him? John O'Shea has been mentioned. The questions probably need to be asked about the exact reasons to Damien Duff's departure, how many conversations actually happened, how big an attempt was actually made to keep Damien Duff involved. So, as ever, FAI featuring these pressure rankings, and they're in at number one this morning.
Right, good stuff. That's this week's pressure rankings.
OTBAM's pressure ranking.